Hello everyone, welcome back to Oliveboard. As day by day Nabard exam is coming closer and closer, aspirants are having so much of doubts, as well as not only doubts in their preparation but also doubts that whether they will clear the exam or not. The most important question which they face is that will I clear the merit section cutoff? And where in merit section the biggest hurdle we all know is ARD, Agriculture and Rural Development. So today here let's discuss that how we can score 30 plus marks in agriculture and rural development. Yes, you are right. We are going to see how we can maximize our score in agriculture and rural development so that we can clear the cutoff very easily. So we all know that in the year of 2021 and 2022, the overall cutoff in the merit section was, of course, it was 41 marks and 41 marks in 2022 and almost 51 marks in 2021. Whereas agriculture and rural development, the subjective cutoff, individual subjects cutoff was almost 6.5 and 7.5 for the year respectively in 2021 and 2022. But where we all know that we all are fighting for clearing the cutoff and scoring maximum in agriculture and rural development, and where various platforms are just giving you the sources, they are just telling you these are the important chapters, important topics, but each chapter has so much of plenty of information. The width of agriculture and rural development is so vast, whatever knowledge, concepts, notes, overall data, stats, these are so vast. This makes ARD a completely very huge subject to cover. Whereas every chapter, even if you see, there is so much of information, a vast information inside each chapter. So what to do for that and how to score maximum? So first, as you all know, you all would be knowing this, all the topics which are important for your Nabard exam phase 1. In phase 1, we all know ARD comes in merit section. Important topics I already have told you. Nabard flagship schemes. Other than that, agriculture related reports, indices, agriculture related schemes. Then comes our static, the main section. The main chapters in static section are, we all know those. Which are those? Of course, your agronomy, your field crops. Apart from that, then comes your farming system, cropping pattern, your soil, then animal husbandry, fisheries, horticulture and plantation, forestry. Then comes your seeds and agricultural engineering and mechanization. Rural development and Panchayati Raj is also important chapter. When you consider all these chapters, you just know the names of this chapter. At the end, you have to study it, right? So whom are we fooling to, right? Everybody is just giving you only one context to score maximum in ARD, and that is what? Just the chapter names. What you are going to do with the chapter names? At the end, you have to read the chapter names, and if you are reading 8 to 10 chapters, you can read rest of the chapters too. So it's of no any use for scoring in ARD. The real thing, in spite you know that all these important chapters are there, I now told you the list of the chapter. And why to tell you guys, you know it already. Then now we are going to discuss the most important concept, that what are those topics, not chapters, but topics through which we can score 30 plus marks in ARD. I am not talking about chapters, I'll repeat again, we are talking topics. Okay, so see here, agriculture and rural development, free sources already I told you, will not discuss them again. Everybody is telling you the best source I already told you, it's Tamil Nadu Agriculture University Portal, TNAU. Vikaspedia is also there and Krishi Jagran is also there. Krishi Jagran for current affairs. Overall, if scheme section I talk about, out of overall 40 questions in phase 1, almost 5 to 8 questions comes from the government scheme, particularly in agricultural sector. For that, all these reports list is given. Take this list, get your sources, whatever those you are, okay? You can get these whatever reports are there on our portal also, Oliveboard's platform also. Read these reports extensively, okay? Apart from that, government schemes all related to Ministry of Agriculture as well as rural development. Now, here are current sections from ARD. It is a very small chunk, only 5 to 8 questions we can expect. What about the rest of the 35 questions? The rest of the 35 questions, we all know, see this, ARD static topics, important, everybody, we know this list, right? Nobody needs to tell us. But at the end, I have to read this at least 8 to 10 important topics, right? So in last 30 days, what should be our objective? Not knowing the important chapters, but rather important topics. So here is the list of all the important topics. If you do them, even if you do a nascent Google search of these topics, you will get ample information that you can reach till 30 plus marks or 30 marks. Look at this. First we start with MSP data and MSP stats and data. Every year in Nabard there is one question related to MSP. Recently the FRP of sugarcane was increased. So I'll make you remember, please try to understand and remember that whatever crop is in news, and if it falls under the MSP list, please do that. Terminologies of animal husbandry like parturition, gestation, ovulation, etc. Favorite topic of Nabard, every year 2 to 3 questions are asked. Types of farming, example lay farming, alley cropping, intercropping. Then apart from that, other farming systems such as mixed farming, right? These all again you have to cover farming systems because becomes important chapter, and such topics only, terminologies they are asking in the Nabard exam. They are not asking anything else. Concepts they will ask, and examples related concept also they will ask. For example, suppose they can even ask you the question on trap crops. Okay, what are trap crops? They will give you the definition that particular crop is there which prevents the attack of insects on the major crop by attracting the insects on itself. Which type of crop this is? This is a trap crop. But now they can also ask you the examples. Which of the following crop combination are examples of trap crop? In that, cotton chickpea is there, then that becomes your answer, right? So in this way, this becomes a very important topic for Nabard. Breeds of all animals, breeds or hybrids of all the horticultural crops, all the field crops. Here breeds is also associated with animal husbandry as well as all the crops. In context of crops, the name of the crop, the scientific name, then apart from that its characteristics, why it is used, which type of that crop is according to seasons, temperate, rabi, kharif, etc. Then other methodologies of or practices or techniques which are used while the plantation, for example spacing between the crops, all this becomes important. Then comes terminologies of horticultures. So vegetative propagation, degreening, runners, methods of propagation, stalking, curing, what are these? These are nothing but terminologies, and Nabard loves terminologies. Diseases like chlorosis, okay, so chlorosis of leaves, other various diseases are there such as black mold disease. So such all diseases related to horticultural crops, various other cereal crops, field crops, these are again favorite topic of Nabard. Okay, so here now you are getting, okay, even though chapter is there, here sir is telling about all the topics. Even this, if you do research on e-sources which I gave you, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, as well as e-sources of ICR, it's more than enough for your exam. Agri platforms like Krishi Nivesh, Enam, in that recent year, if any platform is there which is into the news, specifically dedicated only for agricultural activities, for development of agriculture, okay, then definitely you should read that and keep in mind from the current affairs point of view. Census 2011 data, but will you read whole of the census data? No, only the data which is associated with the crucial context of agriculture. For example, how much landholders are there in the country? Simple. How much gross sown area is there in the country? Then irrigation area, micro irrigated area, rural population, how much rural population is there in the country? How much female population is employed in agriculture in rural areas? What is the literacy of the female population in the country? Such data is there in census. This important data you have to do because Nabard alternatively will ask it because rural development is a major chapter. Then comes agricultural contributions, example GVA contribution of agriculture, okay. GDP contribution also next time they may ask you. GVA already they have asked. Similarly, agroeconomics. Everybody forgets that in 40 questions, one question always comes alternately from agri-economics. Last time it was about tractor economy. Again, there could be also question related to fixed cost, depreciation, gross crop ratio, etc. Such terms which are there related to agroeconomics, please try to read them briefly. Only terminologies are there which you have to read, not the whole chapter. Then comes soil erosion terms. Now, various terms related to soil erosion. What is real erosion? What is gully erosion? And measures to conservation. For example, what is contour bunding? What is contour farming? Okay, this also you have to do. Okay, what is soil water, right? And also factual data and stats related to this also becomes important. Then comes species of horticultural crops and cereals. All the species, their scientific name, as I told you, okay, various methodologies and techniques used for planting, how much spacing is there between two chickpea crops, how much spacing is there between two red gram crops, right? In intercropping of red gram as well as maize, what is the spacing distance? So these all small nuances you have to know because they are going to ask such questions. So you should fetch whenever chapter you are reading, these topic you should fetch first. These data you have to fetch first, which I am discussing now. Agroclimatic zone, they may ask you which is the state which has maximum agroclimatic zone. They may ask you a state that in particular Transgangetic zone or Middle Gangetic zone, which of the following states fall into the this agroclimatic zone, right? Then comes the next list, farming system like modern farming types. Some modern farming types are there which are very famous for Nabard. Hydroponics, climate smart agriculture, questions are directly asked related to this. Scientific names, favorite topic already discussed. Disease and deficiency in horticultural plants. For example, boron deficiency in plants, what it causes, what happens to the color of leaves, what happens to the growth. Okay, this you have to do, favorite topic of Nabard. Breeds of animal husbandry. Okay, so for example, Sahiwal cow is there, why it is used, characteristics and features, so what are its features. Okay, how much Sahiwal gives good quality milk, such type of characteristics you have to note down. Famous for what in this way, for example, sheep, merino sheep is known for wool. This data you have to collect. Fisheries types becomes important. What is inland, what is marine fishery, what is culture, what is capture fishery. Then comes breeds, what are different breeds of fishery, what are carps, what are snakeheads. Okay, they are different Indian carps, rohu, katla, all this becomes important. Also, are they exotic, are they endemic, you should know this. Okay, I'm breaking down whole of the topics also for you. Then comes forestry classification. Forestry you have to do only classification. What is agroforestry, social forestry, agro-silvi pasture culture. Okay, all these things you have to do. Water resources and measure for conservation of water resources. Water resources, again, what is water harvesting, and related concepts will be asked to you. Then comes agriculture schemes and Nabard flagship programs. A question could be expected on KCC, a question could be expected on soil health card scheme, a question could be expected on SHG bank linkage program scheme. All these are Nabard's flagship program, and Nabard will actually try to put one or more questions in the exam alternately based on these flagship schemes. So of course you have to do this. Before exam, also visit Nabard's website in depth. Okay, then comes terms and definitions. Various terms are there, various definitions are there. Always I have seen that Nabard asks a definition and tries to ask that what is this. Okay, so for example, it may give plantation of one or more crops on a same piece of land. Okay, in random arrangement, it's called as dash, and it will give you option mixed farming, mixed cropping, then intercropping, double cropping. Okay, so in this way, Nabard loves definition and terms. Nodal agencies and institutions of agriculture and Nabard. Various nodal agencies are there, various institutions are there which are recently in news. All these, keep in mind their location, their headquarter, what do they do, keep that in mind, because one or the other year a question comes. A concept of agriculture extension, for example, what is method demonstration, okay, what are different types of broadcasting, information sharing, all this comes from agriculture extension. It is a small chapter, but people forget it, and one question comes which is a very low hanging fruit. Then comes a concept, then comes pollination, self-pollination, cross-pollination, breeding also, cross-breeding, cross-breeding. All these breeding terms also becomes important, pollination terms also become important. Seeds, only classification you have to do. What are breeder seeds, what are foundation seeds, okay, what are certified seeds, what are truthfully labeled seeds. Only you do that. Don't do extra information, anything else. Then fairing techniques, okay, so farming techniques, sorry, okay, so farming techniques, if you see, for example, precision farming, it is always in news. Use of drone technology, recently we could see drones are used for apple picking. So here farming techniques, advanced farming techniques will always be asked in the exam. Okay, Nabard is also very curious. Then comes reports and indices, as you all know. Reports, indices, you can expect one question, one or two questions. And crops and their climatic requirements, diseases which happens to the crops, from which specific insect the diseases happens, that is very favorite for Nabard. Always every year one or two questions are asked, that which of the following disease description is given and which is that vector, which is that pest, which is that insect that causes this disease. So make sure you do it. Then comes your other details of spacing of crop. Now what is the hack to score 35 marks? It's very simple. ARD has 40 questions for 40 marks in phase 1. 5 to 10 will come easy. 10 to 15 will come moderate, and 5 to 8 will really come difficult. They may ask you even the floor spacing of pigs. At that time, such factual information, really, I am with you all guys, we cannot remember that. But don't concentrate here, concentrate these two sections, easy and moderate. And how you are going to do that? Through mocks. Mocks are the real game changer in scoring 30 plus marks. But why? Because sectional time is not there for Nabard phase 1. Remember that if sectional time is not there, it means that you have to score 30 plus, 35 plus or 30 plus marks. You definitely need to have practice of mocks because you don't have timer there. And when timer is not there, we get lethargic. This is a very important point which many people ignore and even they don't know. To not have a sectional time in exam, it's actually not a bliss, it's a problem. Okay, so therefore this is the only strategy to get not just 30 marks, but I'm saying 35 plus marks. Okay, so I hope this video helped you. Thank you very much. See you next time.